discovering his career would start as a 13-year-old at space camp. From the multi-axis trainer, to the 1/6 gravity chair, to the manned maneuvering unit, Burke knew this place was different. He knew he was experiencing something he'd never forget for the rest of his life. As a matter of fact, he now looks back and says it was during his first trip to space camp that he knew he was making decisions that would take his dreams and turn them into reality. If you talk to Burke, he'll tell you one of the most amazing things about camp was the opportunity to sit at the feet of men like Dr. George von Tietzenhausen and Conrad Dannenberg. Burke's greatest excitement was to actually get his hands on equipment, something he could touch, feel, real space technology that he could work with and learn on. Burke came back in 1992 to work at space camp. He helped in both camp and aviation challenge programs. That desire to learn led him on a path to Auburn University, where he received his degree in political science, then his master's degree at the University of North Dakota. Then it was off to Squadron Officer School, the Air Command and Staff College, Joint Forces Staff College, and the Air War College. Burke's career goals followed the path he began at Space Camp and Aviation Challenge. He was all about the equipment in his early days of learning and his career, something those closest to him quickly noticed. Colonel Ralph Bryson was his supervisor at Space Camp and Aviation Challenge, while Burke was an employee. If there's any one person who epitomizes the military and the desire to be the best and focus from day one, it's Burke Hare. Today you can find Burke Hare on the front line of opportunity. He is Deputy Chief, Cyberspace Operations Division for Headquarters Air Force Space Command. His list of assignments and achievements are a mile long, but he'll tell you that mile began when he took the first step onto the Space Camp Training Center floor. Ladies and gentlemen, we proudly add the name to our Space Camp Hall of Fame, Lieutenant Colonel William Burke Hare III.
Wow, how to follow up behind Dr. Fowler. Well, to start out, War Eagle. Well, I have to start telling on myself. Last year, Mary and I were invited by our old boss, Colonel Bryson, who saw up there before, to attend the Hall of Fame dinner. Earlier in the afternoon of the event, I left work and ran over to Davidson Center to pick up my tickets. See, I didn't get the word that it was will call. So I was wearing my Air Force flight suit that day. On my way out, I was surrounded by a whole bunch of people waiting to have their picture with the man with the patches and the blue hat. I smiled for the camera, let everyone take as many pictures as they wanted to take, and after a while, I have to admit, with a bit of exasperation, I finally said, now look, you understand, I'm not an astronaut, right? One of the folks in the crowd shouted back, you will be by the time we get to Pittsburgh. My humble thanks goes out to those who selected me the honor of being an inductee in the Space Camp Hall of Fame. I'm still blown away. Blown away. Thanks to my parents for helping me start on this journey. Mom for Space Camp and Dad for the abortive attempt to get to STS-1 on April 10th, 1981. Notice I didn't say April 12th. But he made up for it with STS-5, so I'm proud of you, Dad. Thank you to my family members and friends, some of whom came here tonight from Atlanta, from your encouragement and support over the years. Y'all have always been awesome. Thanks to our friends, the Cash family, for honoring my family and I for sitting at our table. And I want to thank the legendary Tom Creel, the Apollo Lunar Rover Thermal System Guru, for agreeing to sit with my family tonight. He has the coolest stories of engineering genius. And to the people of the Mercury, Gemini, Apollo, Skylab, and especially tonight, the Space Shuttle program, a special thanks for showing me what is best about America's Civil Space Program. At the risk of appearing shameless, I want to thank Dr. Miller, who's here tonight, for authoring Chapter 10 of Getting It All Together in the Apollo Expeditions to the Moon book. I wore that book out. It's still the foundation upon which I learned all about Apollo as a kid, and I got to show it to Dr. Miller the day I brought it. So it's true, it's still in existence. And I especially want to thank my wife, Mary. For those of you who don't know, Mary was a counselor here at Space Camp, and I met her here. In earlier times, supported around 16 Space Lab missions at Marshall, so she's part of the Space Shuttle family, and we're very proud of her. And when I was in danger of losing my way, Mary helped me find it. When I was discouraged and ready to give up along the way, she kept me on the path. She is a rock, a safe harbor in stormy seas. In short, I would not have made it to this evening without her. Thank you, Mary. Finally, I thank God for showing me the way, keeping me humble. Again, the word humbling continues to come from my lips, but I cannot help it. The journey that led up tonight can be summed up by a poster my mother bought and framed for me as a child. It's a magnificent image of the Space Shuttle Columbia, rising off the pad on those now familiar twin pillars of fire from the solid rocket boosters, and the diamond shock cones of hydrogen and oxygen burning from that magnificent trinity of Space Shuttle main engines. With it was a simple but powerfully motivating inscription: only as far as we seek can we go. Only as much as we dream can we be. And one of the people who encouraged me to seek and dream was astronaut Sonny Carter. Sonny was well known in NASA, and he was a great man and fellow Georgia native. And how many astronauts give the random teenager they meet on chance their home and work phone numbers? Sonny did. And while in the Air Force ROTC, I was struggling with the potential impacts of the post-Cold War drawdown, and I asked Sonny for advice on what to do as my Air Force future seemed to hang in the balance. His response to me speaks volumes. Burke, hang in there. If you don't give up, you won't be denied. Sonny was a warrior, doctor, and an astronaut of the highest order, advancing us to the stars. He was a great influence on me. He was my friend, and I miss him very much. And just like Sonny Carter, Space Camp encourages seeking and dreaming. I have been asked to share a set of fundamental impacts Space Camp had on me. Well, let's start a little bit. My journey tonight began when Mom sought out U.S. Space Camp about 28 years ago. Yes, 28 years ago. In the fall of 1983. It was a good call, Mom. As I in process, the staff gave me this dark brown visor here, which is clearly the height of fashion, and said, "Congratulations, camper. You're now a proud member of the Uranus team." And you're going to live in this thing called a bubble. Not the start I pictured from the glossy pamphlet, I got to tell you. And at 13 years old during this same experience, I served in a dual role, flight director and Capcom on my first trip. I was learning how to lead a team early. On my second trip here at age 16, I commanded our crew on the Discovery Space Shuttle graduation mission. Gone were the putrid green plastic cafeteria chairs we used for the shuttle crew, and the one monochrome Apple computer that stood in for the control panel of the shuttle. Discovery had real seats, consoles, plus a full-size Canadarm and a space lab. I didn't know at the time that those Space Camp operations positions foreshadowed my future as a Global Positioning System Crew Commander and a Missile Combat Crew Flight Commander in Air Force Space Command. The high frontier was closer than I realized. And you know, the Marshall Space Flight Center tours were a big influence on my dreams as well. I went back to my training crew manuals the other day from the 80s and discovered we visited Marshall 3 of the 7 days that we were here. Tours at Marshall are game-changing for those seeking inspiration. Bring them back, please. The next generation needs them and the public needs them. Now, I want to put a shout out, if I may, to all those crew trainers in the program. It's the most important job, as Dr. Barnhart mentioned, in these space camp programs. As a counselor, that's what they call me, or a crew trainer today, you have to be a coach, a mentor, teacher, dad, mom, motivator, cheerleader, public speaker, listener, doer, simulator operator, inspiration creator, and most importantly, when I was here from 1992 to 1993, a very good Aviation Challenge Gamma Goat driver. We had six or so Gamma Goat trucks, and we picked the kids up at the habitat and drive them down to the lake, what we still affectionately know as AC. If you don't know what a Gamma Goat is, there's one in the museum directly behind the Davidson Center, and I'll tell you what it is. In its ugliness is its beauty. And let me say a few words about my then program manager, Ralph Bryson, Lieutenant Colonel, United States Army retired, whose picture you saw in my video. At last year's Hall of Fame dinner, during his induction speech, Mr. Danny Hackus described Ralph as the burning bush. And Danny was right. Ralph Bryson has been and continues to be the burning bush. He is a leader, mentor, friend, and he always has the right advice to give at the right time. And since he is the burning bush, if you climb the mountain to ask Ralph for advice, you better listen to what he's got to say. And you know what? You notice in that picture, he also bears a very strange resemblance to the Little Caesar's Pizza Man. Think about it. Think about it. I hope Ralph's name will find its way to the Space Camp Hall of Fame in the future. Ralph cannot be with us tonight, but he asked that I pass on a couple of very special thanks. And first actually goes, surprise, surprise, to my wife. Mary, thank goodness for you. Burke would still probably be working for me if you hadn't come along and rescued me and Burke. And secondly, and I have no idea what this means, Godspeed to a very special TGB. Obviously, this is special to Ralph. I still don't know what it means. But I wish Ralph and his wife Sherry all the best as they enjoy their time together. I want to thank the Air Force. I want to thank the Air Force and Air Force Space Command. They gave me the opportunity to serve on the high frontier during a time when our nation is at war. The Air Force allowed me to find what I was seeking, and with the Global Positioning System, allowed me to reach out to orbit, and actually 6 orbits. Whether it was in the cold of North Dakota, the plains of Colorado, or here in northern Alabama, my Air Force time has enabled me to be of service to the nation in space. I don't know what the future ahead for me is, or what lies out there, but I will always be proud of being a guardian of the high frontier. Now, the high frontier, we've been talking about it a lot tonight. There's a giant paradigm shift that we're all experiencing in the high frontier. And where are the leaders for this great space challenge going to come from? Walk over to those training areas at Space Camp and Aviation Challenge. You can meet and see them there. They're over there right now. In 1984, there was a sign on the front door that read, "Through these halls walk America's future engineers, scientists, and space professionals." If I may be so bold, all of the U.S. Space Camp programs are the inspiration incubators of the next generation of America's space leaders. Space Camp is a national resource. And to modify a line with apologies from Captain John Young on the moon, the country needs Space Camp mighty bad right now. You'll see. I believe it is here, at U.S. Space and Rocket Center in Alabama, where more young people than anywhere else decide to join the space endeavor. I continue to run into people all over the United States Air Force and the nation who tell me that Space Camp was a game changer for their career choice. And I've even run into a few that I've trained. And I'd like to leave you all with this challenge. I enjoin you to consider what contributions you have made in your lives to America's space efforts, whether it be Mercury, Gemini, Apollo, Skylab, Space Shuttle, or in my case, Global Positioning System. You don't have to be Conrad Dannenberg or Dr. George von Tiesenhausen to make a difference, but consider how many people those two gentlemen have influenced since 1982. You know, the things that you have done, you in this room have done in the course of your career might seem ordinary, but could be extraordinary to those who attend these programs. You never know who you will inspire or what they will accomplish. That spark you give a young person in this program may fire the imagination and inspiration that ultimately leads to them planting the first United States flag on our next great destination. It is our covenant to the next generation. It is our responsibility and our calling, and the time is now. Only as far as we see can we go. Only as much as we dream can we be. Thank you, God bless, and thank you.